In this video, I'm going to show you how to adjust your aim for every possible spin shot when we are hitting the cue ball with 3 different amounts of speed. To better understand every important thing, I will show you helpful graphics and detailed comparison between shots to see all differences. To help you identify these differences between shots, I will use 3 colors of path, where white line is reserved for low speed shots, yellow line for medium speed shots, and red line for shots with high speed. So in this case, be sure to leave a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button, because I'm sure that this video will be a great learning experience for you. In the first step, we need to look closer what will happen during shot with center ball, and we need to slightly change aiming to the left, because during this type of shot we face factor which is called cut-induced throw, so in this case cue ball slightly pushes the object ball to the outside. Cue ball follows very natural path which is caused by applied low speed, what you can see at this moment. But let's see what will happen if we increase speed of the shot to 50%. And this time we don't need to adjust aiming, because cut-induced throw gone due to increased speed. And we can clearly see that the cue ball bounces off the short rail with different angle than before, and this happened because we increased speed and cue ball follows tangent line of this shot. But if we increase speed of the shot again, then we don't need to change aiming, because we still do not face the cut-induced throw factor. And as you can see, we can't see any significant difference comparing to the previous shot, and cue ball just going further due to increased speed. Okay, and now we need to look what will happen if we apply top spin and use low speed. Because we are using low speed, then we still need to slightly change aiming to the left. And when we compare this shot to the one when I use center ball, then we can see that cue ball just going further due to applied topspin. But if we increase speed of the shot, then we aim exactly at the ghost ball point, and this time we can see how cue ball curves slightly, and this path look completely different than during low speed shot with same spin. We need to aim still at the ghost ball point when using high speed, but during this type of shot we can see much better how cue ball curves much more due to applied speed and spin, and difference is huge if we compare it to the shots with lowest speed. If we change spin and hit the cue ball at lowest point and apply low spin, then again we need slight adjustment in aiming to the left. And if we compare this shot to the one when I use center ball, then we can see that this time cue ball bounces from the rail with bit different angle and covers bit shorter distance, because backward rotation kills the speed of the cue ball. And situation is very interesting if we hit the cue ball with medium speed, because then it has more backward rotation, which causes it to follow much different path than before and make contact with 2 rails. But what is very interesting, path of the cue ball didn't change significantly if we increase speed on the cue ball again, because the only one difference which we can see is the distance covered by the cue ball on the table. Okay, and now for the first time in this episode we need to hit the cue ball with side spin, and during low speed shot with left hand English, cue ball will curve slightly and hit the object ball at its ghost ball point, but this time we face factor which is called a spin-induced throw, and cue ball will slightly push the object ball to the inside, so we don't need to make any adjustment in aiming. And this time we can see how cue ball, due to applied left hand English, bounces off the rail with bit different angle than in the shot with center ball, and this path looks very similar to this when I use low spin with low speed on the cue ball. But if we hit the cue ball with medium speed, then we need to adjust aiming to the left, because this time curve gone and spin-induced throw is almost not visible, but cue ball will slightly deflect to the right due to deflection factor. During this shot we can't see any significant difference in path if we compare this shot to the one with same spin but with low speed. If we apply high speed to the cue ball, then our adjustment should be larger, because cue ball deflects more than before. And this time cue ball bounces off the short rail with bit higher angle than before, but the difference between shots is not significant. And we need to change spin again, and this time we'll use right hand English. During low speed shot, cue ball will curve slightly again and hit the object ball at the ghost ball point, but this time applied English slightly pushes the object ball to the outside due to spin induced throw, so we need to calculate slight adjustment of aiming to the left. And during this shot we can see that the cue ball after contact with short rail going to the other side than during shot with same speed but with left hand English. If we want to hit the cue ball with medium speed, then we need to slightly adjust aiming to the right, because due to deflection, cue ball will move slightly to the left. And this time we can't see any huge difference in path of the cue ball, with just going much further than during low speed shot. But if we want to hit the cue ball with high speed, then we again need to adjust aiming to the right a bit more. During this type of shot we can see that the cue ball curves slightly after contact with short rail and going with bit different path than during previous examples, but this difference is not large. And now let's add some topspin and we will hit the cue ball with low speed and bit of left hand English, which means that we don't need to adjust aiming, same like during shot with only left English. This time during shot we can see that the cue ball going with bit different angle, which is lower than during shot with only left English. And this is caused by the fact that we are hitting the cue ball higher, so it has less left rotation. But if we hit the cue ball with medium speed, then this shot requires slight adjustment in aiming to the left, and during this type of hit we can observe very interesting behavior of the cue ball, which due to applied left English going to the side, but topspin straighten this path and pull the cue ball towards center area of the table. And this behavior of the cue ball is much more visible if we increase speed of the shot more, because then we can see that curved path which it follows look like banana, and we can clearly see difference if we compare all shots with same spin. But if we change spin and hit the cue ball with right hand English, then during low speed shot we again need to aim slightly thinner due to spin induced throw. And this time, if we compare this shot with the one with only center right English, then the only visible difference is located in points of contacts with left long rail. However, if we increase speed of the shot, then we need to aim bit fuller, because cue ball will deflect slightly to the left, and during this type of shot we can see only small difference between points of contact with long rail, and of course this time cue ball covers much longer distance. But during shot with high speed, after higher adjustment of aiming to the right, we can observe that the cue ball, due to applied speed and spin, curves after contact with short rail and hit long rail in similar place like in previous shot, but the highest difference is visible in distances covered by the cue ball during all shots. And now we need to look closer what will happen if we hit the cue ball with low left hand English. This time we need to aim practically at the ghost ball points, same like in previous examples with left hand English, and here you can see how the cue ball bounces off the rail with different types of hits with left hand English. As lower I am hitting the cue ball, more angle we can open after contact with the short rail. But we can open much more angle if we hit the cue ball with medium speed, but this time we need to aim slightly thinner due to deflection. And during this type of shot we can observe how combination of low and left spin changes cue ball's path after contact with the short rail, and we follow completely different path than before. If we want to increase speed more, then after higher adjustment in aiming we face very interesting behavior of the cue ball, because it hits long rail higher, and this happened because we applied high speed and cue ball has not enough time to open more angle after contacting short rail, and left hand English didn't pull it that much towards long rail. But if we change English and hit the cue ball with low right, then after slight adjustment in aiming to the left due to spin-induced throw, we face very similar situation to the low-speed shots with left-hand English, because as lower we hit the cue ball, then more angle we can open after contact with short rail. However, if we hit the cue ball with medium speed, then after slight adjustment in aiming to the right due to deflection, we face the most interesting situation where low spin applied to the cue ball causes it to hit short rail further, but right-hand English kills speed of this shot and cuts angle after contacting this rail, which result with completely different path if we compare it with previous shot. Situation is similar if we use high speed, but then after higher adjustment in aiming to the right, cue ball hits short rail bit earlier than before, but due to applied high speed, it still stays on the right side of the table and going much further than before. What is very interesting, sometimes we can place the cue ball in the same area using completely different spin and speed, like in this situation where on the left side I hit the cue ball with low speed and applied low left-hand English. But on the right side I hit it with medium speed and applied low right-hand English. We are hitting the cue ball in two completely different points, but the final result is almost the same. To summarize this episode, we can clearly say that we had to use some kind of adjustment in aiming during each shot. During low-speed shots, we encountered factors such as curve, cut-induced throw and spin-induced throw, depending on the spin we used. When shooting with medium speed, then curve and cut and spin-induced throw just gone, but during side spin shots we were dealing with another factor called deflection, which required from us slight adjustment in aiming. However, during high-speed shots, situation was similar, but this time deflection is higher when hitting the cue ball on its side points, which result that we need to adjust aiming to the certain side. We need to remember that when we are hitting the cue ball with English, then it deflects to the other side than given spin, so in this case if we use left-hand English, then we need to adjust aim to the left, and when hitting with right-hand English, then we adjust aim to the right. As you could see, I did a lot of work to analyze every shot for you, so if you enjoyed it, then please leave a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button because I make new video every week, so you can't miss any of them. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next lesson. Take care!